Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and our lives. Hi, everyone. I'm Andy Nam. And of course, looking on the screen, it's not our usual crew here. I'm excited to say we're celebrating season 4. You know, this is our first episode for our 4th season. We've been on for 3 years, so I am so excited coming on to our 4th year. And today, you know, you got a familiar face. I'm joined by Kristy Boyd Johnson. She's an award-winning author, an education specialist for kids. She helps parents and teachers unlock children's unique learning styles for empowered, inclusive education. And of course, we have Omalza, and we're going to learn a little bit more about her intuitive shift. But, you know, she's a holistic career coach and wellness advocate. She guides individuals through uncertainty with resilient strategies that turns transitions into triumphs. So we're going to try to do something a little different today to start off our first episode for season 4. So let's just kick it off, Kristy. What do you have in store for us today?
Well, I was thinking, Andy and Dawn, that it might be fun for our audience if we kind of did an icebreaker question for the panel. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay, I have one for us. So just jump in, one of you guys. The question is, what is something that you've been holding on to for too long that you know you need to release and so that you can move forward in your life?
Dawn, I'll let you go first. I'm going to throw you.
That was a stumper.
The first thing that pops up in my mind, and it's something that I try to do but haven't been really good at doing, is old photos. I know photos carry a lot of memories, but it also carries a lot of memories of a person that I am no longer. Or, you know, it holds memories of a time that may have had a lot of trials and tribulations that I need to let go. And so actually this morning I did start to purge some of those pictures. And yeah, that's why I think I brought that up, is that we hold on to these photos because it's like, oh, you know, it's this good to look back. But then also there's some of those photos that you really need to just let go. And so for me, that's what it is. And once I, you know, let go of those pictures or delete it and trash it forever, there's just a good release that I felt when I was doing that. And it's like, when I did it, I didn't regret, like, oh no, I shouldn't have deleted that, right? You know what I mean? And so sometimes we think like, oh, keep it just in case, but no, it's a really good healing process to go through that and just purge.
Yes, it feels so good to let go of all that. It's like weight.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How about
That's
you?
amazing. That's amazing. I am going to piggyback off that. And, you know, you're talking about old photos. I am talking about old childhood friends. You know, growing up, We always joked with my best friends because, I'm still good friends with friends that I met since kindergarten, right? So, 55 now, it's like these people's been around for a long time. And, I always thought that we would take a bullet for each other. Like that's the way we always brought up when we through high school and college. Yeah, I'll take a bullet for you. Nowadays, probably not so much, I think I would still take a bullet for my friends. Don't get me wrong. That's just the type of person I am. But, it's like you said, Don, a lot of us have grown so much, right? And where we were even just 5 years ago is very different, right? Let alone 30, 40 years ago, right? And it's funny because, I grew up in Vancouver. That's where I left all my childhood friends. And, I left in 2000. It's been 24, 25 years now since we left Canada. And it's interesting, I'm talking to my friends. It's almost like time stopped for them. Like nothing's been, they're older. They're older, but they're still talking about the same things, right? Like they have not shifted. What are they going to be excited about for retirement, right? For when me and Min are talking about retirement, I'm saying, wow, what are we going to do to enjoy life? Like, where are we going to visit? Like all these things. It's a joyful time for us. But for them, it's like, man, I just want to retire so I don't need to work anymore. I don't have to take care of the kids. It's like almost going to jail for them. It's almost like I find deserve to sit down and I don't want to say die, but like, it's a different vision, right? And if anything, learning from all you coaches in the last 2-3 years is that energy, that negative energy. I always in the past always try to cater to everybody. I try to help everybody. I always try to uplift my friends and family. And some of it, in the last 4 years, it was difficult. And now it's sort of like, I'm sort of done, right? If we don't line up, I'm not going to give you up as friends. Don't get me wrong. I'm not cutting ties as friends. But maybe it is time to, let them stay where they want to be, if that's where they want to be. But, for us, we're soaring. Like, I'm seeing great things for all of us. Like, we're going to the next level. Regardless how you want to call it, spiritual, emotional health, whatever, we're all going to the next level. And, it's sort of like Don says, I don't think we should be having these old memories or old thoughts of who you used to be holding you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
I like that. I've gone through 2 massive physical purges because I've moved twice in the last 3 years.
Yes.
And I've literally purged. Our last move was 2,000 pounds from the first move, which was 8,500. So quite a massive purging of physical stuff in my house, which felt amazing. And just like, and I don't miss any of it. So, but I think for me that most of what I'm carrying, what I'm noticing is more along the emotional, letting go of the toxic things that are still connected to old emotional wounds. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of my motivations for wanting to work with kids in this new way is that I would like to provide, at least in an educational setting, an opportunity for them to be growing up in a place where they're not being oppressed, that they're getting to explore and think and learn and innovate and become the amazing little humans that they are. And because so many of our wounds come from school, bullies, bad teachers, right, systems that were harsh, do what you're told, don't think about it. Just, I don't want you to ask any questions. The list goes on. So I think for me, I've been working really, really hard on the getting peaceful with, okay, it doesn't really matter that happened anymore. Like Dawn, like you said, it's not me anymore. That's all so old. And I'm ancient compared to you guys. So it's just like, it doesn't matter anymore. Get over it.
I think And you brought up a great point though about um, us as children, right? So letting go of it. But I don't know about you guys, but even at my age of 51, sometimes I'm just there's moments where I'm just somewhere and I'm looking out into the world, but I still feel like I'm my 4-year-old self.
Mm.
Observing the world. And I think that's the innocence in ourselves that we suppress that we need to release. And so, like for you, Andy, connecting with those people and knowing to let them go is really the connection was that innocence, that was the bond that we
Mhm.
had with those people. But the disconnect or the release was really more about a part of yourself that you no longer want, that they're mirroring, that you're just ready to
Mhm.
say, okay, I want to reflect something totally different in my life, and that's why I'm changing mirrors. Right?
Yeah.
But you yourself is still that same innocent self, and we do need that. We need that innocent 4-year old when we didn't have all those conditionings. I mean, we do have a lot of conditionings that happen to us even from at the time of birth, and
Mhm.
things that we genetically inherit. But yeah, all that good stuff that happens after that, yeah, we can change the mirrors, definitely. Break the glass.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's funny that you bring that up because I was just thinking breaking the mirrors, that's a great way of thinking it. But, like even breaking the mirrors or cutting the leash that's holding us back, right? Because
Hmm.
as kids, you're talking about innocence. We're big dreamers. I was a crazy big dreamer as a kid, like, I thought I would be a millionaire. And of course, millionaire means totally different things now than back in the 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah.
Millionaire means nothing depending where you live now. But, growing up, depending on where you're growing up, the people you're growing up with, your friends, they start becoming your dream killers, and because like everyone falls into place and then you're sort of comparing each other, you sort of want to be, you don't want to be the sore thumb, you don't want to be the black sheep, right? You always want to fit in the crowd, never too far out, it's always, to me, it was always a competition. Who's going to be just like a little bit better, but you don't want to be so far ahead that people start judging you, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's not just about money. That could be relationship, health, business, or whatever it may be. But it's gone so stagnant. And one of the things that I learned in these last 3 years, meeting all you amazing people, is we can dream again, and it's never too late to dream. It's funny, Kristy saying, she's the old timer in our group, but seriously, you know we're I just talked to a guest talking about midlife crisis, and we're all in our 50s and early 60s. I was like, right, this is midlife crisis. We're all going to live past 100. No problem. We got a lot of time to change life, right? Whereas most people have already said it's too late to chase your dreams. I think each and every one of us is like, well, it's sort of nice to dream again. And what's it going to take to do that? Who's going to inspire us? Who's going to help us along the way? Right. I think that's really important because sometimes it's too hard to do it yourself. And to be honest, you don't want to you don't have to relearn the wheel. You don't have to,
Yeah.
chip a square wheel into a round wheel to start going, forward again. There's someone else that done it.
Hmm.
Right. So, I think it's so important. It's like when we create a chronically healthy life, it's like we're hoping to get guests that can inspire you, that start you on the journey, in which case their story may be similar to yours. And look, they done it. What's stopping you, right? And it's so funny. It's like what started for us to try and inspire others have really inspired me and Minna to, like our goals now is just insane. That if you asked me 3 years ago, it's like this is just crazy. No one thinks about stuff like that. And now it's like I don't know, my goals are big enough. It's like there's so many things that we want to do, not only by ourselves, but with the people that we want to work with, because it's just so it's just an amazing feeling being around people that uplift you, right, and have the similar vision, right? So I really believe that that is really important. um so much was learned, that we taught and we learned from you in this last year, to uplift everyone and change your journey, because everyone thinks their journey is fixed. Like Don says, someone's have already fixed your journey before even living your life, and that's the way you brought up. But now it's like, we can take that fork in the road, right? And having a little bit of mystery is part of the fun. At least that's my 2 cents. Back in the day, I crave certainty, but now it's sort of like, well, what if? I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's just open this door and see what comes out. To me, it's exciting.
Well, I'd like to give a nod to Dawn, because before we came on to the show, we were talking about that very thing, about making a change. And in honor of our first episode of our 4th season, I can't even believe we're doing this for 3 full years now. Dawn has made a choice to move into, as she put it, and something she hasn't really shown people before, which I respect and love about her. And that is moving into being an intuitive guide. And so Dawn, I'm putting you on the spot, but in the frame of what we're talking about, how can we work with our own intuition to help guide us? Because really our intuition is the best guide for anything.
Right. I think, every one of us has that knowing within us, but we just have that lack of trust and knowing when to recognize that your body is talking to you. And that's where the intuition is coming from, is your body tells you everything, right? You feel it in your gut, you feel it in your heart, you feel it in your hands, you feel it in your head. I mean, everywhere. But for me, I mean, like what Andy was talking about, that journey, right? That fork in the road. I think all of us probably have been in some kind of workshop that, you have this trajectory, right? This timeline, and it's just a straight line of getting from point A to B, right? That's the goal. And that's what we've been taught. And then they show you a picture of, someone taking the same route, but it goes loop de loop here and back around with the U-turn and all of that, right? And they're like, that's not the way to go. But that is actually, whether you go straight or you go do the loop de loop, if you're doing what is in your heart, it doesn't matter which route you take, because at least you're living, you're being active, and you're getting those experiences that you need to really find yourself. And what I see a lot of people, there's so much marketing out there, right? Find your purpose, be your true authentic self, and all of that. And people still don't understand what that means, but they know. And then whatever circumstances that they're in, they're miserable, and they just feel like, oh, there's something better out there for me, but I don't know what that is, right? But marketing, we framed it as authentic self, your true purpose. But yeah, so when you learn to, like for me, when I learned to trust my intuition, the reason why I held back in showing this side of the intuitive part is because I know people are going to think like, oh my gosh, she's changing careers again. She's wicked. What is she today? And what is she that? And I had to finally just accept that everyone's going to have a different perception about it. And it doesn't matter. Like Chrissy said, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you think. I don't even care what I think about myself. I just want to live, experience, and just feel peace, right? It's not even about excitement, joy, sadness, whatever. It's just having that peace in myself and not questioning everything that I do, questioning what other people are going to think. I mean, it is what it is. But when you, like for me, as I continually educate myself and I continually question, the dogma, right? The more curious I get, and the more I question it, it's like I wish others would question it too, because they sometimes don't realize that their misery is because they live in this box. So yeah, so now, I had a conversation with a great friend this morning, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's time. It's time to kind of talk more about that other stuff. And, the folks that need to hear it and that's ready to hear the things that I have to share about it, that's the people that I need to connect with. And the ones that don't understand it yet or not ready for it will be in just a matter of years. I think we're all in a shift right now. I think
Yeah.
this is a transformation time. I think things have been really challenging for everyone in 2025. I think things are going to still be a little bit challenging in 2026, but it's going to be more of a transformation year and a preparation year. And I think 2027 is that time where our little community that we're building here, we're no longer going to have to push because everyone's going to be seeking us out at that time. So in 2 years, that's what's gonna happen. So trust the process. And like Alexis and I were talking about this morning, right? Your conscious, your subconscious cannot know what that result is going to be because we never lived that yet. So you just have to trust your higher self.
I love that. We're going to jump into a quick commercial and we'll be right back. And
Hello,
we're
everyone.
back, Dawn.
Sorry, Andy. I'm used to saying welcome back.
So Don, you got the mic. What would you like to learn a little bit more about me and Kristy?
um, Kristy, I know you have some projects that you've been working on, and we've all made some great transformations this last year. For you, what is your like pivotal or proudest moment that you want to talk about and share with us today?
Oh my goodness. That's a toughie because I tend to beat myself up a lot, which is something I have to let go of that we've been talking about. Um, I think for me, I've gotten in touch with my entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm doing more than just the education. I've got different things going. I'm setting up writing programs, and then I'm setting up a membership group for. It's called the Narc Detox Club. It's for recovery from narcissism and the toxic effects of narcissism, and so I think what I'm most proud of is that I finally gave myself permission to be who I am, and who I am is not a one size fits all person. And I'm not I've always been kind of an exploratory learner, which big surprise, I think that I should give that to kids now. But when you get to, okay, I'm going to admit it. I'm 64. Which is why I've now admitted my real age on TV. And I've had 30, 40 years of learning under my belt, and now I've always been a person who turns that inward on myself and examines myself and tries to be really honest and work through my crap, and etc. So I guess now I'm finally giving myself permission that I don't have to lock myself into one little box. I can do different things. I can have different things going, and support people in a lot of different ways, but they're all oriented towards what I call the ascension energy, this new energy we're in of breaking free from the matrix, letting go of all this stuff that's inflicted on us that we've said yes to, that we don't have to say yes to anymore. And so, like old friends that are locked in the box, okay, I'm okay. If you make the choice that you want to think that retirement means that then you just don't have to go to work, you just sit home and watch TV all day, okay, that's fine. More power to you. Whatever, as long as it's, I'm not ever going to support violence or cruelty in any way. But just when you give yourself permission, there's something about your energy that people around you feel it, and they start feeling like they can do more. And it's not anything you say or do, it's just an energy that they feel, and it's powerful. So I think for me, Chronic Health Collective and Chronically Healthy Life, that's where the power is, I think, is that it's not just me, it's not just Andy and Minna, it's all of us. And we find the best people like Dawn, and we find the best people. So I think that's what it is. It's that energetic, like, hey, you guys, it's not going to be an instant turn. It takes a little time because we do live on this planet, but it's all possible, and dream big, and you don't have to do what you're told, and you don't have to sit in a little box, and you don't have to. I always tell the kids, hey, if someone tries to put you in a box, jump out and run away.
So it sounds like your theme for this year is really like being unapologetically yourself, right? Like just live it and not apologize for who you are. And I think a lot of us are coming into that, and it's a work in progress. It never goes away, and I know we talk about, like, peeling back the layers and the on the onion and all of this. Like, I'm like, no, I don't know. That's another topic, but into that another day. Thank you, Kristy. How about you, Andy? You and Minna have been such inspirations for all of us, because you really are the backbone of this, and this is your project, and we've been supporting you. But I'm sure there's just been moments where you folks kind of feel like, oh, I don't know, do we still want to keep doing this, because it's a lot of work. But you keep going, and now your vision, you're expanding your vision to go even bigger than that. So what keeps you going?
That's a good question, and I'm just gonna suck up because Minna's not here. She keeps and she's probably like rolling her eyes in the other room right now. But I think sometimes you have to find a person that you have to do things for. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of times it's like, well, I don't care if I'm poor, I'm still living on the streets. It's just me. Well, you're affecting someone else, right? We're always affecting our loved ones. We're always affecting someone else, right? It's like, what can you do in your life to uplift the ones you love, right? And that doesn't have to be your wife, your spouse, your husband. It could be your sister, your mother, your friends, right? And I think sometimes we don't think about enough how our lives affect others. Right. Like sometimes, me and Minna, when we go out, we smile, we always ask how people's days are. And you catch people off guard because they never, as servers, like, I used to be a server at a restaurant, and I always get yelled at, right? When's my table ready? Clean my freaking table. Right. But when you're coming in, it's like, how's your day? What would you recommend? And it's like right away, it's like now you're asking their opinion. And it's like, wow, you're asking about them, and it uplifts people. And it's amazing when you uplift people's energy. It's addictive. You see, they come back. We're always getting free desserts. It's like it's a perk, right?
Yeah.
But it's like we'll get free upgrades on the plane, free upgrades on the hotel, and all you are is just being nice to people. Like, I always say, treat people the way you want to be treated, and I think that's really big. So, when you say, yeah, this is a big project, I would have never imagined it to be this big 3 years ago. 4 years ago, I just like, well, I just want my family and friends to hear what I have to say coming from someone else. Like, that's the only thing. That was the whole reasoning behind the show. And now it's like, oh my God, we have changed so many people's lives. It's like, who else can we help? Like, who else is hurting without knowing they're hurting, right? Because like, a lot of us, it's sort of like what Don says, like our journey is changing, not just throughout the year, not throughout our life. It's like, it could be changing day to day, week to week, right? So it's like, what message are you going to hear today that's going to change your life for the better, right? So when I'm doing all the back end, I was like, yeah, you hear about me complaining how much work it is, but to be honest, I enjoy it because I hear what you guys are talking about. I'm thinking about the lives we change, and to me, it's exciting, right? It's like back in the day when I was in California, me and Minna, we used to chase the Jonases. We're always thinking about what's going to make money first, right? How am I going to look just this much better than everyone else, right? Because everyone wants to say, well, you own a nicer house, you own a nicer car, we have the nicer Prada bag, I got the latest Gucci bag. Like it was so competitive, right? And not in a good way, right? And then there was no room for us to dream about our vision or mission, how we're going to help people, because we can barely help ourselves because it's all about comparison. Now it's sort of like, wow, let's go out there. It's like, it feels so good inspiring people and hearing the stories, how we change people's lives. And it doesn't have to be us. It doesn't have to be us directly, right? If we say, oh, well, something that Don said was so great, and I implied that. Great. I feel great. It doesn't have to come from me. We still help someone. And that just, it may sound corny, but it just makes us feel good. And, when you feel good, think that doesn't seem like work, right? And really, that's really what this whole Chronic Health Collective is like, when we're together, we're a family, we're joking, we're talking, right? And it's a business. We're building a business together, but I'm gonna post some Hawaiian terms, you're my ohana, right? You're my family. And I don't see it as work, and I'm hoping that we could grow the ohana together, right? And see how many people we can change. And with the build the internet now, we can change the world, right? We can literally touch everyone in the world. It doesn't have to be our immediate group of friends living with us in the same city.
Yeah, so true, so true. And I think as long as we're living and experiencing things and we don't have that resistance, we release that resistance, um, that's when the beauty happens, right?
Mhm.
One thing I've noticed a lot is kind of the split where people are either choosing to stay locked in kind of a fear, shame, guilt spiral world, or they're breaking free from it and saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to move toward peace and prosperity and friendship and etc. But I was talking to someone earlier today who's having that happen in her family. and it's that happens that we have to, just because someone is family, we have to allow them to stay on their path too. So if you're breaking free and they're going, what are you doing? Oh my God, you're going to hurt. You're going to cause harm. You're not being the person you're supposed to be. So we feel comfortable.
Correct.
Then it's like, well, okay, sorry about that. but you have to give yourself permission to let go of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And let them be where they are, but not let them hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead and move forward, especially if your intuition is screaming at you that there has to be something better. And there is. Breaking out of the fear, shame, guilt spiral is better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Andy, I have a question for you. Let's apply this to, like, how do you think that you're a functional nutrition specialist? So in terms of like the food we eat and the things we put in our bodies and everything, do you think that that is something that, do you think it's tied together, that our physical health and the things we eat and drink are help us with that ascension, that growth?
That's a good question. And you know, and back in the day, if you asked me that 3 years ago, I would say definitely, right? Like, what you eat and stuff like that is so important. But like I said, in this journey, my eyes have opened in so many different ways how our health, how our health is affected, right? Of course, what you eat and put in your body, your food and water, we beat that to death, and some people say, wow, it's so easy to do, blah, 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 blah. And I think, well, but it's also about what we need to get out of our body, right? Because we are having a lot of toxins. So a lot of times people just eat better and they automatically think all the bad shit they ate for the last 30 years is magically going to disappear, right? That's not going to magically disappear, right? But going further on that now is like, diving into this intuition, diving into the mindset. It's like you have to change your mindset about your health too, right? Not only about trying to lose weight, right? But a lot of this built up anger that you have, if you don't release that, that's causing all sorts of diseases too, right? Like that's something that most people don't talk about, right? So you can be eating healthy and you're still going to catch cancer because you got cancerous hate in your body. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, so many people I don't understand is like, oh, I'm just going to exercise more, burn more calories, I'm going to be healthy. And you see people that look super fit, dying from heart attacks, getting cancer all the time. And like I said, if you look at their exercise and what they eat, it's like, how is that possible? Well, our bodies is a whole being. It's a balance. It's almost like what Don said in the very beginning. It's a balance. And that's the beauty of it. We cannot learn it all the time. Everyone's going to be very specialized in different areas. And that's why, like, I think it's so important to reach out to different people to who you resonate with, because different modalities is going to help people in a different way, right? It's like I was just talking with Don with I don't even what's the best way to describe who we interviewed, energy in another level, and a lot of us don't realize how we're bleeding our energy out, right? And we got control of our energy, right? We can absorb energy, and people say, well, that's a good thing. No, if you're absorbing crappy negative energy, it's a bad thing, and that's going to drag you down, right? So yes, you get that energy from the food, you get that from the water, but we get that from the environment, the people we hang out with, right? The thoughts we hold on to after your mom says you're a shitty son. Yeah, okay, I'm a shitty son. I think I'm a great son in helping others, right? But that's her thought. Good, like she can keep that thought, that's fine. But for me, it's like, that's not how I see it, right? If she wants to believe that, that's fine. But if you hold on believing you're a shitty son, then you're gonna be a shitty son. And to be honest, all my brothers are shitty brothers because that's just the way we are, right? I have a very dysfunctional family, and once again, thanks to Minna, it's brought my lightness out and a little bit more happiness in seeing the world. But if you are around dark people all the time, or a dark work environment, you have a crappy boss, there's nothing stopping you, right? Like a lot of people say, well, it's a good job, it's a high paying job. I was saying, yeah, but if it's killing you, it's time to go. I always tell people, You're not a tree. You're not rooted in one place. Just get up and go somewhere else. It's not that difficult. And that goes with your health, your relationships and everything. So yeah, like I said, what started out with just nutrition and everything for me now, it is everything, right? I'm learning about your mental health, your physical energy, your intuitive energy. And sometimes you out talk yourself, and I'm very guilty of that, right? It's like I love challenges and stuff like that, but sometimes you may not be ready for that challenge, right? And you need someone to guide you in that journey. You can't just automatically go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, right? It takes time. You need to train to get there. And depending on which areas that you're weak on in life, let's get the specialists to train you to get there,
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about our upcoming summit, because we have an amazing roster of experts to help everybody in pretty much every area. Yeah.
Yes. So, we have our Chronic Health Collective Masterclass coming up. It's going to be on over 2 weekends, because there are so many guests, so many amazing coaches. And each one of us is going to deliver a mini masterclass in half an hour, right? We're really peeling back the curtain and giving you the secret sauce of, what we do and how to change your life, right? But not only that, we invited 11 guests. I actually got a confirmed 12th and maybe a 13th guest coming up soon too. So I'm very excited that, but this is something that we're using to celebrate our year, right? To celebrate where we have gone, because like Don says, some of us have changed our vision and journey along the way, and it opened up our eyes too on what we want to do for not only our own lives, but seeing how we want to help others, right? So, this masterclass is going to be amazing. Of course, it's going to be free for those that have the time to watch it. It's going to be over 2 weekends on September 19th and 20th, from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock CST. And then the following week on the 26th and 27th. But, we really recommend, if you don't have time to watch it, just, reach out to us, buy the VIP all access pass where you can watch it over and over and again. Because like I said, there's going to be some of us that have that master class, that 30 minutes is going to change the whole trajectory of your life.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Right.
We try to do that on our weekly show. But yeah, this master class will give us an opportunity to bring in so many just wonderful people who are doing really wonderful things for everyone out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. But next to that, let's head for another quick break. And we'll be right back, where I get to ask these ladies some questions.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
Imagine a life where every day is fueled by energy, vitality, and purpose. Where age is just a number and your best years are always ahead. Hi, I'm Andy Nam, certified functional nutrition longevity coach, best-selling author, and international speaker. After reversing my own chronic health struggles, I'm now on a mission to help you live longer, stronger, and of course to look younger. I combine biohacking, cutting-edge nutrition, and stem cell technology to unlock your body's full potential. So no matter where your starting point is, I'm going to guide you toward a chronically healthy life. Ready to reverse aging and take control of your future? Connect with me today. Your journey to longevity starts here.
The time has come for us, the parents who want more for their children and the teachers who want to love teaching again, to band together and stop the coercion and control and the crazy-making boredom. How? By making learning a joyful experience in a relaxed environment. By supporting and encouraging kids, not forcing or tricking them. Meet Kristy Boyd Johnson and the Barefoot Learning Club membership. Go to www.barefootlearningclub.com and find out more. Together, we can raise a generation of wildly capable and happy kids.
Welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. I am so honored to have Kristy and Don here today, and just kicking off season 4. This is so amazing that I get to celebrate this vision that me and Minna had just 4 years ago. Oh, we're going to start this TV show, and people thought we were nuts, right? But yeah, we're starting a movement, and like I said, like on our last Chronic Health Collective, Candace was asking us, where do you see, the Chronic Health Collective? And I told her, look, I see us being a household name by 2026, right? That's where, I really believe we can make change and help people with their lives in every aspect of their life. So my question for you guys is, like I said, we can talk for hours, really, but we got time limit here. So what I want to learn from each of you, first of all, Kristy, is we are 1 year into the Chronic Health Collective, right? We got coaches that help us up level in every area of our life. What did you learn most in your life that you're implementing this year?
Oh, heavens. I think for me, all of our coaches are women, except for you, Andy, which may or may not
was intentional. That was intentional. You know that, right?
Yeah. Andy had to have his harem.
Andy's angel.
These women, I am continually amazed at the level of, I don't know exactly the depth of these people and the incredible, the way they think, the way that they manifest out in the world, the way they connect to people. And it just, every time I talk to them, either individually or on the show or in one of our meetings, I just think to myself, wow, that's all I can say is wow. But I think for me, the thing that I've gotten the most is along the lines of what Don is talking about, is really digging down into listening to my intuition, because I've always been extremely intuitive. And this sounds really weird, but when you're like me and you think a lot, it overrides intuition, and I've tended to talk myself out of my intuition. An intuitional whisper. So I think for me, the thing I've been really inspired by almost everyone in our group to just listen to the whisper and follow it, because even when it seems weird, because my mind will immediately go, oh, blah, 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 blah. And so sometimes I think about the ladies and I think, well, wait a minute, they would all be like, Chris, listen to your whisper. So yeah, for me, I think that's probably the most inspirational thing for me. Yeah.
Perfect. How about you, Don?
Oh my gosh, same here. Everyone has so many different, unique perspective, directions that we all can take away something from. But at the end of the day, it's the resilience the resilience and the courage to put themselves out there, to share what they have, the knowledge that they have, and knowing that there will be some judgment along the way, which is perfectly fine, right? But that's what helps me keep going, is watching everyone keep going at it, sharing their stories, because yeah, we it's just a crazy world, and there's so many different opinions out there, especially when it comes to just challenging the norm. And so to get out of your comfort zone and be uncomfortable, and knowing that you're making other people uncomfortable and making others question question themselves and their beliefs, you know that's really like a great thing, because you can see when you're connecting with other people, you can see them make that shift. They're like, huh, oh,
Mhm.
okay, right? And so that's where that awareness starts to open up for them. And that's what makes me even more excited. It's like, okay, yeah, you know what? I was there one time, like totally clueless, totally lost in this world, don't know
Mhm.
where I belong, who I am. And it took just putting myself out there to learn new things, meeting new people that I would never thought I would have a conversation with, that opened up my eyes to just just finding out what's more to our existence.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I look forward to meeting more people and connecting with more people and seeing how much further we can take this.
Yes,
I
definitely.
love that answer. I love that answer, Don.
Yeah.
Um, I think for me is like you hit the nail on its head. It's really about getting uncomfortable, and it's getting comfortably uncomfortable, right? Because for me, like back in the day, is where like you hit a certain point, and it's like, okay, that's the best I'm going to be, right? Because like my family came from a small village. It's like, you're a village boy. If you can reach this, that's the best he's gonna get. You know what I'm saying? You didn't come from a rich family. Don't expect to be up here when we started from down here, right? And learning from all you ladies, and I get to say ladies because I'm like, once again, the only guy. Um, just hearing the challenges. You guys all have these challenges, and it's funny because for each and everyone out there, we all have our own story, and we all had something. Wow, you don't know how hard my life was, or you don't know how bad this can be. It's like all of you have a story, and it's like, wow, my life wasn't actually that bad. It's like my health sucked, but I wasn't dying from cancer, right? You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a family member die, or there's so many things that has much worse happened than what in your story that's holding you back. And that's what really inspires me to all these opportunities, and it opens your eyes to like, wow, if you can change that one small area in your life, what else can we change, right? It's sort of like Don says, like, where can we take this? Like, the sky's the limit. Is like, if anything, I learned from all of you that there is no limit, right? The limit is as high as we want to bring it, right?
Mhm.
So if we want to all uplift together, seriously, there's no limit. There's nothing stopping us, right? I hope we don't
Yeah.
run out of air. I don't want to go too far out. I am so excited, moving forward, and ending with the master class and everything. And like I said, look at the time. It's like time's up. That's really one I want to share. I honestly want to thank each and every one of you. Of course, I get to thank Don and Kristy personally, but all my coaches out there, not only on the Chronic Health Collective, but every single one of our guests on the Chronically Healthy Life Show, because each one of you have touched our lives in a certain way for the better, right? And it's opened me and Minna's eyes in how much more exciting the world is and how much bigger it is. There's so many things that we still have left to do and left to see and left to experience. And I'm hoping, as the Chronic Health Collective, you're going to see us. We're going to be rising, like a tidal wave, and you're going to start seeing us everywhere. And we're going to just help you, meet you where you are, to help you whichever area of life you need help with, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you so much for being on the show today, Don. Thank you, Kristy. Uh, that's it for this week's Chronically Healthy Life, the kickoff season 4, episode 1. Um, thank you all for sharing the space with me. We're so honored for everyone watching the show, joining us towards your healing, towards your hope, and of course, towards your longevity. Join us here every Friday at 7 p.m. CST on e360tv.com, on the Vitality TV network, or on our YouTube channel at Chronically Healthy Life. And of course, anyone that wants to reach out to me, longevitywithandy.com, or reach out to Chronic Health Collective and reach out to one of my coaches. But we'll all see y'all next week.
Ciao.
Bye.